To the credit and joy of the administration at that time, you trusted us as faculty and students and defended us, saying, this is the nature of the work that we do is empowering our students to help empower communities so that they can define themselves and rather than only be subject to being defined by external forces. So again, a risk was taken by the college to support us, and I just want those kinds of, or encourage those kinds of risks to still be supported. When we created the Native American community, reservation-based community-determined program, I was one of the first faculty honored to teach with Carol Minu in that program. We took some big risks there. We as a college, but also we as faculty. We asked the community, you decide what it is you want to know, what it is you need to know to be a healthier, stronger community, and then we'll figure out a curriculum for you, or a syllabus for the year. So we were turning over the power to determine what was important for them to learn to the community. These are all risks that have enabled us to do things that no other school in the country has been able to do. The Gateways program, again, we're taking risks saying we're investing in young people that everyone else in our society has shunned aside or put aside so that they aren't even visible to us by putting them in institutions. And we have created a program that not only enables them to have a voice, to see a future that's connected to other parts of themselves than the external definitions of themselves, and we have given our other on-campus students a chance to engage with them in deep conversations about their lives, our lives, different kinds of knowledge that's known out of those lives, and what are the potentials in the future for our lives and their lives. Gateways is one of those programs that's kind of always on the bubble when we talk about needing to reduce our resources. It's a risky program. It's not seen at the core of our mission. I think that's a mistake. And I hope that you will continue to trust the faculty and students who give a lot of passion into that rare opportunity to work with incarcerated young people in ways that are meaningful to all of the participants. Second, I hope you facilitate and not just sort of pontificate about it, the values of community, inclusion, and humanity over bureaucracy, isolation, and fragmentation that our society sort of often structures us to have to live through. A couple little examples that maybe you could sort of suggest we work on. Back when I was one of the deans, we had some meetings, the deans were invited to some meetings of the middle managers across campus, and we talked about the real value of having something like Evergreen 101 program or course or something for every new employee at the college. A lot of folks come here because they want to sort of understand and participate in the values. Others come for other reasons, and it's not the only reason for our staff and employees. But a chance to have everyone experience a little bit about the why and how we do our teaching and learning shouldn't be that difficult to offer to all of our employees. One of the recommendations of the Service Learning DTF, back when I shared part of that and led to the creation of our Center for Community-Based Learning and Action, was that we consider honoring the service that all of our staff and faculty do in the community by things such as allowing staff to have some accepted release time to participate in some of their service work in the community. Again, it's not a big loss, but it's a huge recognition of the benefit that we all gain from having our community work recognized and engaged with our professional work. I was one of, I don't know how many others, who was somewhat disappointed, is a mild word, about what happened this year with the audit of our labor center. I thought that the process as well as the product was damaging to our community. And so I hope that we, even though auditing is something that is often done in a non-inclusive, non-participatory way, I hope that we can think of ways of auditing our values to make sure we're sustaining them, as well as, or rather than, looking for legal justification for sanctions. And, it's one of those challenges that we have to comply with certain regulations and requirements, but in a lot of other ways, we found ways of fulfilling those kind of obligations in ways that are unique to us. And maybe we could redefine not only the concept, but the practice of auditing within our institution. I hope that we continue to create and celebrate our unique community partnerships. We have partnerships, we're able to have partnerships that no one else can because of our pedagogy, the way we structure our curriculum, because of our values. And our public service centers are a part of our community partnership. And I think we need to enhance and celebrate rather than disempower our public service centers. And of course there are ways that we can engage those centers more in the curriculum as well as in the community. But it takes creative thinking rather than sanctions and budget cuts to sort of say to the world, yes, our community engagement and partnerships are really important. There are all kinds of other new partnerships that we could sort of move into in a more formal way. Partnerships with nonprofit organizations, local entrepreneurs, schools, those in our community who are most vulnerable. Whether that includes artists trying to make a living, farmers trying to make a living and provide healthy food for us, small social entrepreneurs trying to be an alternative to corporate options for where we can buy and fulfill our needs. Public schools, libraries. We have this wonderful opportunity of internships for our students, but the organizations need, or would certainly benefit more from another level of contractual commitment beyond, well, maybe there's 3 interns this quarter, 1 next quarter, none the next year. It makes our relationship with the community organizations more difficult than perhaps it could be in terms of continuity of their needs as well as our needs. I also just want to mention briefly, I didn't structure this as beautifully and articulately as David did, but I have some hesitations about emeritus status also. And part of it comes from the fact that I was dean for the Evening Weekend Studies program for 6 years. And over those 6 years, I hired, rehired, mentored, evaluated, mentored some more, probably about 150 adjunct faculty, none of whom will have an opportunity to speak to you in a form like this, because emeritus status is not something, and nor should it be, but for folks in that status within our teaching colleagueship. But maybe we can have some other way that's the equivalent or an honorable way that their work is also recognized. In many cases, it's not quite 37 years, but it's a lot of years of really dedicated teaching that are, we now use the term contingent faculty, have contributed to the teaching and learning there. And finally, just so it's not forgotten, because this is an area of trustee oversight, that we really protect the stewardship of our campus natural areas and resources to assure that they're maintaining, also that stewardship is maintaining our values, and that we don't find ourselves sliding into other opportunities because of economic benefit that might be different from what we would decide to do if we were stewarding the land based on our values. So I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. I knew this was going to be a little long. I should have warned you ahead of time, but I appreciate, the incredible privilege, of working 37 years here. And every year, my self-evaluation includes some version of, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. Because I think all of us have some pedagogical ways of doing this, that we teach by learning, and we teach by modeling. And what could be more fun? Thank you for